I was only young.
What's going
I
again?
remember we briefly went to. I briefly went to Sunday school. And
Should I turn it round? Oh yeah.
that's okay. So yeah, I went to Sunday school as that was my only real early churchy kind of experience.
Did you enjoy it then?
I can't honestly remember, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't think we went that often enough to make it a proper opinion of it.
Yeah, you did? Yeah. I didn't go to Sunday school very much when I was a child.
So,
But,
yeah. I do miss them though, I do. I miss them terrible.
Is that feeling like there's something missing?
It's awful. I mean, I look at the photographs, like I say. I picked them up the other day, and I know it sounds stupid, doesn't it, really?
what, the pictures or the,
Yeah, the
or
pictures,
the
and
just with the... with
Just
the,
picked the pictures up and just held them to my chest, you know what I mean? And
well, my mother had a Tiger hot water bottle, and she was upset at me because my auntie, when I was a tiny baby, my auntie made like a tiger teddy for me when I was, you know, an infant, and I called it Tig. He used to carry Tiger around with his head, and eventually, after, you know, when I got to about 3 or 4, his neck got really scrawny, you see, and but I still carried him around, and I dropped him in the gutter once when I was getting off the bus, because that time his neck was sort of like dangly really, and the tigers I called them, went in the gutter, and when I picked him up, you know, I dropped Tiger in the gutter, and thankfully it wasn't a dirty gutter. I picked the Tiger up, and this woman screamed because she thought I was picking a dead cat up. Anyway, so years later, well, you know, his neck got repaired with a bit more fur, and I took him along because I was doing a Sunday school up at Winkerbank sort of thing, and this one of the kids who in the Sunday school liked the Tiger, so I let him have the Tiger. So when I went home, and you know, I told my mum, she was a bit upset because my childhood Tiger had gone to somebody else, but I felt it was time, and I got a drawing of Tiger anyway, sort of thing, and I thought, well, if the Tiger can give joy to a child,
some other child, yeah,
then that would be good. And then,
Yeah.
what happened was when my mum died, she had a Tiger hot water bottle, you see, so I got another Tiger back. So, you know, like you were saying when you were holding your pictures of your parents, well, sometimes what I do with the Tiger, you can think about somebody you're missing, like your mum or your dad, or somebody you care about who's far away, and you can just hug the Tiger. With it. I mean, at the moment, I don't put a hot water bottle in the Tiger. I put my old socks in, my clean old socks that got holes in, to stuff it out, sort of thing. And so that's, you know, sometimes you can say a prayer. You can hold that Tiger and think about somebody you care about, and give them a hug and say a prayer at the same time. You know.
I mean, I'm not against going to church. You just found the right one. That's all.
Well, you could always, you know, privately go in your room and just have a chat. Just go privately in your room and say, look, I'm not that keen on going to church, dear God, but if you want me to go, I'm willing. And to me, just do like that.
I mean, you know, I'm not against going at all. It's just that, like I say, I find the happy clappy thing a bit uncomfortable. And I find the other more traditional churches to be a bit not exciting enough, you know what I mean? I know it's not meant to be exciting, but, you know, just to be a bit more... I mean, I listened... When the Reverend left, Reverend Robert Beard, who did my mum's funeral, when he retired, and I found it was never the same with him not being there, because they had these guest vicars coming in, and quite often, God, they ramble on, ramble, and I just don't, I just lose it. I just lose it completely because I just find it
A bit too intense.
Yeah, I just don't find it, interesting. I get lost in what they're talking about. You know what I mean? Now we talked about having the Bible. I mean, I've got 2 or 3 Bibles at home, beautiful books, beautiful. And really, instead of being, I think I've got 1 or 2 that belong to my mum as well. And but I find them hard to read. I find them really difficult to read. I find the vocabulary really difficult to really get stuck into it.
Is it like thee and thou and all that?
Yeah, it's all the thee and thou thing, and I just can't concentrate on it.
Well, I find if I want to know anything from Bible, I tend to go to my church services and listen to them reading it to me. Or you can always go to Rawson and Rawson will tell you about it.
I know that.
Well, I don't know all of it. I only know bits.
Yeah,
but you can get it on YouTube. You can get somebody reading the Bible, like a modern version, and sit down and listen to it.
Yeah, maybe a modern version would be better, perhaps.
Well, you can just sit down and listen to it.
Yeah.
And
no, I would put it for the word in because you do know your stuff.
Well, I mean, when I first started to believe in God, and then basically I went along to this place, and they got me. One of the things they got me to do, it was mainly for students, but because I was working at the university doing hairdressing, I went along to the student church meetings by a group called the Navigators, and they got me to remember bits of the Bible off by heart. And if you know bits of the Bible, then they come into your head. You see, you think about them, and you might be having bad thoughts or something like that, and you'll remember the bit in the Bible that says, whatever things are good and lovely and true and noble, think about those things. So if you're tempted to have a nasty thought about something, you can think, oh no, I won't think about that anymore, I'll think about good things. So there's little things like that, and there's like bits like, where God says, I will never leave you or forsake you.
Yeah.
So if you know that, you see, and you can feel really down one time, and your friends haven't rung you or whatever, and so I will never leave you and forsake you. God says, you know what I mean? So that's so at the very least, that your best friend of all is going to be with you
all the time.
All the time,
even when you're poorly.
Yeah, exactly. And so you might not see him for a good few years. Graham keeps kidding that he might. He jokes, doesn't he? He says, it might not be so long now before the Lord takes me.
Who says that?
You do.
Oh, me, do I?
Yeah,
Yes.
quite regularly.
Might not be long now.
Every time I see you, you're saying it. Every time I see you, you say to me, it's not be long now, God will be taking me. And then I'll go, no, you're not going before your time.
Man, if you kill crossing the road now, you could get flattened by a tram. So.
And then that would be before your time.
Well,
Well, it could be before the tram's time. Should have been a bit fucking earlier. So,
anyway, yeah.
But I nearly got knocked down today, actually, in Barnsley.
Oh no.
Yeah, I did. I was crossing the road from...
Don't be disappointed, Charlotte. You should be happy that you haven't got it written down. You're saying, oh no, did you want him to get knocked over?
I was walking across the road, right, to go to the solicitor's office, and I was walking behind this car. The guy had got in the car, he just drove it backwards without even looking.
Wow.
And I just dodged out the way.
Yeah.
And anyway.
So you might have had a broken leg or something.
Might have broke a leg or something, yeah.
Well, I've been knocked over before.
Yeah, I have.
I have.
I got knocked over on Division Street one night.
Oh, did you?
Or Devonshire Street. I get mixed up with those two.
Did you go to hospital?
No. What happened was I was out for a drink with Gary.
I would have thought you might be slightly under the influence of alcohol.
Possibly was. Possibly was. And the guy hit me, and I bounced on the pavement a little bit, and then just missed hitting the wall with my head.
Yeah.
And he got out of his car apparently, and "You okay, mate? You all right?" I'm laying on the floor, and he'd obviously had a drink himself.
All right.
Because he couldn't get away from there quick enough. Do you know what I mean?
So had you just walked out not thinking to look across the road?
I wasn't thinking.
Well,
My fault. Presumably.
But I tell you what, the alcohol in that case might have helped you because you might have been a bit more relaxed.
Well, I just remember starting to cross the road and Gary or somebody or who we were with shouted, "No, Graham, stop," you know, because I just didn't see it. And he hit me and I bounced into near Mr. Kite's. Remember Mr. Kite's? Yeah, just there. But it didn't hit my head, I just landed on the...
No.
You know, I did a film stunt roll. And,
What happened with you then, Charlotte?
well, it was when I was a young girl, and
well, it's now then.
no, I'm 40 now. I'm talking about being 6 or 7 years old.
Oh, right, okay.
Right. A car was coming. I didn't look both ways. My sister ran across the road, so I ran after her. I didn't look both ways, and the car was coming, and I got flying on top of the boot, and I got knocked unconscious for 2 days. I was out of it for 2 days.
Where was this?
It were in Aston, a village called Aston.
Oh, yeah, I know it. Yeah.
I was very ill. I had to be rushed to hospital.
Yeah, well, but that's sometimes when you see somebody running ahead, you know what I mean, you're blind to what's happening sideways. You just think,
I was just looking at my sister, thinking she's across the road.
This is one thing about driving for a living and stuff like that. You sometimes, I've noticed it with you're driving through a built-up area with cars parked that side and cars parked that side, and people have a tendency to speed down these roads, you know, go too fast, and I know I slow it right down when I'm in those areas. I'm looking for things like footballs being kicked into the street, or cat or dog or child or something.
Yeah.
I look under the wheels to see if there's anybody waiting to run out in front of that car. They call it defensive driving, which is a good course to be on. And because, you know, the speed some of these drivers go down these built-up areas, kid runs out, he's got no chance. You know. So
I suppose the only danger, and I suppose it's quite a good thing really, the only danger you've probably got in that is if there's a car in front of you and you're so busy looking sideways that if they suddenly stop in front of you, you might bash into them.
But the point is, all to do with the defensive driving thing is that you're not that close to the car in front anyway.
All right,
you
so,
drop back.
So even that's
you always drop back. You know what I mean? Good. So that's.
I think everybody should have those lessons.
Well, I mean, I've not done the advanced driving course, but I think I might still do it because I've got a lot of driving experience. So
I think after so many years, when you've been driving, you should be
a refresher.
Compulsory to go on an advanced driving course.
Or a refresher at least. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I don't know what you think about this idea, but I thought, you know, maybe if you get to a certain age, maybe 80 years of age or something like that, and you're what do you call it, as quite as fast, your reaction times and everything. I think, say, right, Mr. Simpson, you know, we're seeing that you've got a few problems now on your 80th birthday, sort of thing. You've had one or two narrow scrapes.
Yeah.
So therefore, we're going to license you, but you must drive a soft car. And you'll have a padded car for over a certain age. You're doing the Stan Laurel thing again. And then you'd drive a padded car, so if you accidentally, you know, forgot what was happening or anything, if you bumped into anything, it would be quite a soft bump.
Well, yeah, possibly.
I just thought that'd be quite a good idea, and then somebody could then have the freedom to drive a car in the local village or whatever on short journeys. They maybe wouldn't be allowed to drive on the motorway at a certain age, depending on the doctor, but they'd still be able to get out and drive. And I think that'd be quite a good idea, a soft car.
Yeah, it could be.
But I'm quite happy if you get a better idea, or anybody has a better idea. But I mean, that's my proposal.
I just think I see a lot of kids driving who possibly haven't passed their test that long ago, and they you see, this is another thing. I always think that take your motorbike test, right? If you take lessons and pass your motorbike test, you're on a low engine bike to start with, like about 250cc.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it should be the same with cars. I think you should start on a lower engine size, and gradually build it up with the experience you get. Right. Because you get these kids who pass their test, right, and they, you know, and the dads or mums have slipped them money for these brand new cars and everything like that, and they can't handle them. They can't handle, or at least they can probably handle them, but they're not thinking ahead. They're not thinking defensively. This is what fascinates me about driving. You always think about driving and getting it as quick as you can. But to me, there's more skill in defensive driving than there is in offensive driving, if you want to put it that way.
Well, that sounds very sensible, because you mean you've got a gentle introduction then to first driving a car until you're completely mature, and then as you get towards,
you can handle a bigger car. You can handle something with a bigger engine. You know, I mean, I came to the conclusion. Well, I was going to give the car that I drive, which is Alex, which is my dad's car. I was going to give it to Alex because he passed his test, but he wasn't doing any driving. And I was going to give it to. Things went pear-shaped because I was going to have the pickup truck, but that got written off by this idiot driving it, and I was going to give Alex the Mondeo, but I was worried about it because it's a 2.5 car, which is quite a powerful car, and it's quite long as well. You know. And
but Alex seems like the kind of young man that would be sensible.
He wouldn't be a joyrider.
No.
But,
he's over. Is he over 21 now?
No, he's 26.
Well, I think that's probably mature enough, I would have thought.
Well, it is mature enough. Well, it's mature enough if he'd been driving since he passed his test. But because he hadn't, because there's been a gap between him driving, that's why I was reluctant to give him the Mondeo, because I said it's a powerful car. You know, I'm not saying you can't handle it or anything like that, but you know, you've got to be careful.
Right, you might have to do a monologue now because I'm going to the People Palace.
Oh,
Are you going to stop it?
Sorry, I was going to the loo.
Well, I'm going to go to the loo.
You go then.
Well, no, but the